Dad, do you think the 49ers coaches watch these videos?
Absolutely.
Why?
Okay. First of all, curiosity. Second of all, you really know a lot about football. And I think Shanahan and Saleh, I think they know it. I am convinced they watch your grades or read your grades. I have no question. I'd almost bet the mortgage on that one. But on this, I really think those two coaches, I don't know about the assistants. I don't know them. They want to know what Grant Cohn thinks, not Lowell, they don't know me, what Grant thinks of them. And I think, I'm going to say something bold, and I don't think those two really care much what the other journalists think of them because they're not extremely opinionated. They're
exactly.
They're beat writers. That they're doing their job the way they do it.
Yes.
Grant is both a beat writer and a columnist in one. Mm-hmm. And I think they really want to know what your opinions are. And if you like them, they feel good. And if you criticize them, it pisses them off, but it motivates them. That's what I think.
Yeah. And I think that they notice that I'm constantly trying to give them constructive criticism, like not just what they did wrong, but what they need to do to win or to do that. And I think, first of all, that's really rare to come from a journalist. I mean, most writers don't even presume to give tips to someone in a field that they're not in. But the other thing is, my suggestions are good. They're right on, and they have to know that. I've been covering this team. I've been covering them for 4 years. There can't be a coincidence that I say all week, guys, you want to get your offense going, you got to get Kyle Juszczyk involved. He's not just a blocker. He's a receiver. He's a ball carrier. All of a sudden, he gets 4 carries and 2 targets. No, there's no coincidence there. It was a good suggestion. They took it. And I think the thing is, like, there's a lot of coaches in the league that wouldn't have good suggestions. Kyle could call his buddy in Tampa or wherever and say, hey, man, my team's 2-3. Things are really sputtering. I really could use an outside perspective. What do you think? A lot of guys like that wouldn't have necessarily helpful suggestions. I think it's rare for a coach to have anyone who can look at his team and say, you're doing this, you're missing this. And I imagine that he and his dad see things so similarly. Him and his underlings see things so similar because everyone is so in awe of Kyle Shanahan, that organization. I might be the only one who says, Kyle, I respect you, but I don't agree with you. I don't look at football the same way. This is how I would do it. Take it for what it's worth. And sometimes I think he takes it.
And I'm going to add one thing. I think Kyle is smart enough to know that you're talking to people.
No question.
That you're talking to people.
No question.
That when you give a suggestion, it's either your suggestion or somebody who's not necessarily into Kyle, who's an old veteran from the league, has said, have you thought about this? Yes. Has Kyle thought about this? Yes. And I think from early on, Kyle knew that you were talking in stereo.
That's right. And to me, one of the things Kyle Shanahan lacks in this organization is someone like that. An old veteran. I don't know what you would call it. Basically Yoda. The guy who knows more than you, who doesn't look at football the same way as you, who can speak up in a meeting and say, hey, Kyle, I disagree. You're wrong. Let's talk it out. Bill Walsh would have opposing viewpoints. I don't know if he
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Bruce Arians down in Tampa has Tom Moore, who was the offensive coordinator for the Colts and the Steelers. It's something. And Kyle has his dad, but they think too much alike. They need someone like me and my sources. And I think that, I don't know. I mean, they're not hanging on every word. Well, what does Grant say this week? Because we can't do our game plan until Grant said, but I'm sure they're peeking like, Grant said this, huh?
Yeah, and is it his idea? Did he get it from someone else? Because the people he's talking to seem to know what they're talking about, and they look at things different from us. So you are either Yoda or the conduit for Yoda.
And this isn't new. When Harbaugh was here, after a few years, he got the picture too. Remember, I think in year 3 there was an issue where Kaepernick was getting sacked a lot. I think there was a game where he got sacked 6 times, and I was like 25. I during a press conference, I said, Jim, why aren't you moving the pocket? Why aren't you calling bootlegs and rolling Colin Kaepernick out? If he's getting sacked 6 times, why don't you switch up the launch point so the defense doesn't know where he is? I'm using all this coach jargon that I
was getting it.
Yeah, and he looks at me and Shanahan wouldn't argue with you. Harbaugh would argue with you. And he said, well, I do move the pocket. And I said, well, you moved it 1 out of every 10 snaps. I mean, how about more than that? He said, well, Why is that not enough? Why is that not enough? So he's argumentative with me during that day on a Wednesday. But on Sunday, we go to New Orleans. They played in New Orleans. And I don't remember what year it was, but he calls a bootleg rollout pass for Kaepernick to Vernon Davis, and it's a touchdown.
Vernon Davis, yeah.
It's a touchdown. And someone on the 49ers staff was so excited when that touchdown happened, jumped up, spun to us and said, Grant, that was for you. Then
I was there.
Then he turned back around, came back to us and said, don't write it. Oh my God, please don't write that I said that. Do not write that I said that. Because he was revealing that the coaches do read up my stuff, our stuff, and take it to heart sometimes. It was a good suggestion. Get him out of the freaking pocket. He's Colin Kaepernick. He's one of the better rollout throwers of his era. And I was right. They scored 7 points, but they didn't send us any type of thank you, check, nothing. But we did treat ourselves that night. We went to Commander's Palace afterwards. Ooh, that's my favorite restaurant in the country.
That's right. We were completely in jeans and we didn't have jackets. And we were going over in the cab. And the lady, when you made the reservation, said, are you aware of our dress policy, right? And you said you were aware of it. You answered our question. And then when we came in, they said, what the heck? And they put us, we had that waiter, Peter.
Yeah, that's the thing. In California, people aren't nice. They pretend to be nice. They're not nice. If you try to pull that in California, they might turn you away. Yeah. But in the South, they have that whole like Southern hospitality thing. They're like, whatever, come on in. We'll put your bags over here. And then like the waiter comes out, and then the waiter's assistant comes out, and then the general manager comes out, and then the owner comes out. And it's not just because we're like famous.
The owner sat with us.
Yeah, they just do the rounds. It's like, that's how serious they take service. And that waiter that you mentioned, he is a career waiter who's making probably like $150,000 a year. And probably inherited the job from his dad and will pass it on to his son. Go to Commander's Palace if you've never been to New Orleans. It's worth it.
In New Orleans, yeah, that's the place to go.
Could Grant and Saleh team up to be coaches?
Here's the thing. I haven't noticed that Grant's a coach.
No.
He's what I call a journalist.
Yeah.
But he does have tremendous understanding of football. So if Saleh wants to hire him,
Why not?
Why not?